Joined by an extraordinary person this afternoon. Genuinely, I've had the pleasure of working with here as part of the Woven Festival. She's deeply involved in it and has been a big part of making this event today. She is a sustainable fashion expert and an environmental educator. Would you please give it up for the awesome, the very fabulous Julia Roebuck! Julia, come in. Welcome to the sheds. Right, we're gonna get to the question you're asking in just a moment. Yeah. But Julia, I'm gonna close the door because we've not got a chair for you. We'll talk about that in a moment. But you are a sustainable fashion expert and an environmental educator.
Yep, always learning. Always learning. But yes.
Well, just briefly give us an overview. What does that mean?
So that means that I spend my life talking about the impact that fashion has on people and planet. Encouraging people to think differently, rethinking waste predominantly, around what we've got, what we're using, how we're using it, where it's going. In a nutshell.
That's in a beautiful nutshell. Now, we have to talk about the dress, right? Because that's the best way to describe really what it is that you're passionate about and excited about doing. Now, I'm going to sit down. We would ordinarily have a chair for you, but that's not really possible today, is it?
It's not going to be possible, John, no.
No, so do you mind if I sit down?
That's absolutely fine. That's fine. I'll
Julia,
stay standing.
This is a wonderful creation. Tell us all about it.
Well, I wanted to make something for today. I talk about fashion, I talk about textiles, and a lot of the events that I do and the workshops that I do, I really like to wear my values. So today, the theme of what I'm going to be talking about and having a chat with John is around rethinking waste. And I was thinking about making a garment out of waste and something that would make everybody think about a waste stream that they are familiar with. So I thought that this might be quite current to engage people with thinking about a specific type of waste that used to be reserved for the healthcare and medical sector and has kind of burst into the homes of every single one of us. So I thought that it would be a good visual representation of what I am about to talk about in rethinking waste, because I think as much as we wear these masks, we're also very familiar with seeing them littered on the streets, on your beaches, if nobody is maybe going to live near a beach, but lots of people do, and the beach cleanups that happen. We don't want to ever pick them up because they're gross and they might have COVID on them, and that's not what we do. So we kind of just walk past them, and as much as we hate it, we're kind of stuck in this system where we have to turn a blind eye to this waste stream that is disposable plastic, is causing really significant harm in our environment. So I've turned lots of not worn face masks into
un-COVID face masks.
And COVID safe. And quite warm. So rethinking waste is really what I'm here to talk about, and also take questions and think really specifically with a textile framework, because obviously we're here as part of Woven.
Because you're the founder, the director, you are Upcycle Fashion, which is a locally based sustainable fashion company. Tell us about what's your mission there.
My mission is to encourage everybody to rewear, repair, upcycle, customise the clothing that they either already own or is already owned within your community. So I look at clothing as a community asset. It's something that every single person has in their drawers, in their wardrobes at home. But we get sick of wearing the same clothes again and again and again. Sometimes people do, some don't, and that's fine. But a lot of people change their clothes quite a lot, and I think it's really important that we address this issue because it can contribute to quite a significant amount of textile waste. So encouraging people to think differently about the clothing that they own, to use some skills either on their own or with a community group or in their school or their university or their business, to come together and kind of celebrate the clothing that exists within our society, because we have very well-travelled ways of discarding textiles, and I like to kind of explore the reasons why we discard them and provide solutions, encourage people to get really creative with the solutions around keeping them for as long as possible.
And it's not just about keeping them for as long as, because we had earlier today, I don't think, oh yeah, so Mark is still here. So you might see Dr. Mark Taylor there is wearing the Halloween t-shirt. That t-shirt is from 1994. He's worn that deliberately here today to go, look, this is 35 years old. Is that, no, done the sums wrong, 25 years old. But that's being reworn and kept, but you're also really into not just keeping things and wearing them forever, but transforming them into new things as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely, because I don't expect, and I think it's not right to expect everybody to wear the same clothes that they buy in their teenagers years to adulthood, and that can be for whatever reason. You know, our bodies change shape and change size, and our, you know, cultures change, and our tastes change, and our friends change, and fashion and textiles are a fundamental part of our culture and our society, represent who we are, and our values. And there's a way to celebrate that and enjoy that without being incredibly wasteful and damaging to the environment as well.
Yeah. In fact, you today, this is what is a very beautiful thing. Julia arrived today. We've been working together a little bit in the run-up to today, and she brought with her for me this Space Shed Textiles repair kit, which I'm just spilling on the floor. I've got some orange thread in case I need to fix my spacesuit, and a repair kit with scissors and
needles.
Needle, obviously, I need that. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not that guy, but now that I've got it, I'm thinking, well, yeah, because I've met you, I'm going to start doing that stuff myself rather than saying, Sarah, can you sew my button back on? Also, what I loved in here is, tell me first, what's this?
It's t-shirt yarn. So one of the workshops that I do and that I work a lot with young people, with community groups, with events and festivals, and obviously during COVID, I've switched online and had to really tech up in how I teach these skills. But t-shirt yarn is a great activity. It basically turns one t-shirt into a ball of yarn, one long continuous loop of yarn, which can then be used just as you would use any ball of string, or yarn. So you can knit with it, crochet with it.
You said turn it into jewellery.
Turn it into jewellery. A lot of the young people like to plait it or finger knit with it and turn it into jewellery or headbands, belts, whatever. But you can also wrap it. You can wrap presents with it. You can use fabric, reusable fabric wrapping. Use t-shirt yarn to wrap it. Makes a really beautiful present.
I'm going to use it to do my top knot when I do that sometimes, keep my hair out.
Hair bubbles, hair bands, elastic for face masks, for reusable face masks.
And this is a bag. It wasn't always a bag though, was it? Can you see what that was? Going to need a little bit more interaction. This is like a little, we're not doing subtle today. Yes, John. That was, is it a vest?
A vest top.
Vest top. Yeah. This has been sewn up at the bottom there.
No, it's a no-sew activity. So a lot of the time when I'm doing community events or workshops and I've got all my stuff out and I kind of set up a kind of contemporary craft exhibition all around upcycling, and sometimes people won't engage with it because they absolutely outright say, I can't sew. So I think it's really important to have activities available that target a really low basic skill set.
Who would have thought I would be being your model?
As John is what I made earlier, can still engage with these issues, because you don't have to own a sewing machine to come to my workshops. You don't have to be a design student. These skills are fundamental for everybody. This is a kind of essential life skill as citizens, and I think learning to repair our clothes is just as important as learning how to cook a meal.
I think it's really clear. I think when I hear you say that, and honestly, just today, listening to the other people that have been in the shed today, you're so passionate about this, and when you talk about this being, as important as being able to create a meal, I've never thought of it in that way. But also listening to the other guys, and that it's everywhere. It is absolutely fundamental to our existence, and I certainly have taken it for massively granted. How did you get to the place now where you are a sustainable fashion expert? You're educating people about this. You're running your own brilliant company. What was the routes that brought you here?
So I grew up in Home Firth, which is in Kirklees.
Try that again.
I grew up in Homefair.
Yo!
Woo! Thanks, guys. And we have a lot of charity shops in Homefair, and we did 25, 30 years ago. And I never went to a charity shop to buy clothes. I went to a charity shop to buy fabric that I liked, that might just have happened to be made into a dress or a pair of trousers. And I would get home and take it apart and make it into something else to wear, to go into town or to go into Leeds on a night out, parties, whatever. And but I never thought of that as a thing that anybody else did. No, none of my friends did it. My family, I come from an amazing line of textile workers in Leeds, and those, you know, with amazing garment making skills that they taught me. But I didn't really know anybody my age that was doing that. Anyway, I went to Homeforth High School and Greenhead College. Hey, which is just there. I like that. I've never been able to say that, so close to it. And then moved to London to study a foundation course in art and design because I thought I wanted to be a painter. But while I was there, I started to meet, this was about in 2005, and there was a growing sustainable fashion movement in London at that time. So London Fashion Week had just started a separate sustainable fashion show called Aesthetica, which was curated by Ursula de Castro, who is the queen of upcycling. If anybody needs more information about her, check her out. And a lot of designers and brands and shops were really starting to explore these issues. So for the first time, it all kind of clicked for me in London.
There you go.
And I've done it.
So you never knew you were going to get into textiles?
No, it was just a fun thing that I did as a teenager, but it was never anything I thought could be done.
And it turns out you can make a decent living out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. So follow your passion. That's what I'm taking from that.
Absolutely, yeah.
One of the things we're doing as well is there might be some younger people in the audience, and they might, I don't know if you're thinking about going into, do you know what you're going to do when you're a bit older? No idea. No, you're going to follow your passion. You know that. But you might be thinking, oh, maybe textiles might be for me, right? What advice would you have for anyone that was thinking, at any stage of their career or life, you know, if you wanted to change up, what advice would you have for anyone that wanted to get into textiles?
Make stuff. I really liked what Charles said about you learn, you know, use a sewing machine, take things apart, put things back together again, make things for friends, family. You know, I started making gifts and things, and my auntie still has a thing that I made, which when I was about 10 I thought was amazing, and I saw it the other day and I thought, oh my goodness. But you know, just play with fabrics as much as you can, and just if you have an idea, just try and make it happen. I think there's something really magical in having an idea and then kind of bringing it to life through materials in whatever kind of art genre or kind of field you work in. But textiles is brilliant because everybody can connect with it so easily if it's clothing. And so just go for it. Just play, enjoy having ideas, photograph what you do, wear what you make as well. I think is something that's really important because, you know, if you make something for a night out or into town, it sparks conversation and you can talk to people about what you've made, and then they say, oh, I made that. Or even better, oh yeah, my dad runs a company, you should go and work there. You know?
That's as optimistic as me going, if anyone's got a couple of mil, I just say to everyone, you've got a job. And what you're saying as well is about making stuff. And what we have Charles, who works at the Royal College of Art, but lives here in Huddersfield, was saying that he loves when people coming to interview bring him the things that they've made to interview, so that, you know, it shows the passion, it shows the skill, and it shows an example of your work rather than just a flat photograph of it that you could sort of just have it come from anywhere. It's not often, I would say, you get the opportunity to meet and speak to people like Julia. So I'm going to offer you this opportunity now. Has anyone got any questions for Julia about her work and upcycling, recycling, or just, you know, the dress? Has the dress got a name? Just the dress?
No, but we could name it now. You throw some names out there. I'm happy to name it now. Anyone
can suggest. We've got a prize.
It's an emergency repair sewing kit.
I'm not giving that away. Hiya. Masquerade. The Masquerade or Masquerade dress?
Hey!
Yeah.
Oh, I just got
MASK,
it.
Masquerade. Yeah.
Sorry, I just had the Phantom of the Opera soundtrack going through my head then, and I was thinking, I didn't understand. But yes,
I think anyone else is going to have to do really well to...
yeah, that's a good title.
Yeah, thanks. Any questions?
I'll take Masquerade.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Do you still get your fabric
And I
from the
still live
charity
in
shops?
Yeah, I do. But because now I do what I do, I get given everything that I volunteer in a charity shop as well. So all the stock that's not sold, I'm sure you're fully aware with the amount of stuff that's been donated to charity shops over the last year. All the stuff that doesn't sell, well, I don't take it all, but I try and distribute it. And that's another part of my work is what I call clothing in circular communities. So distributing, again, keeping it at a really local level, distributing the clothing that's not sold in the charity shops to local people who will use it and have that need for that specific item. So whether that is really smart workwear that could go through into like Works Better here at Kirklees Council to help people with interview outfits or first week or month with jobs that don't have that appropriate clothing, whether it's all of the baby grows and all of the kids stuff we get donated that doesn't always sell, that can go into mummy, parent and toddler, parent and baby groups, big jackets and backpacks for homeless. Oh, and I'm in Huddersfield, so I can reference really local things, but like Welcome Centre. So that's something that is an ongoing project and that I really encourage everyone to do. So when I talk with university students and kind of guest lecture, I'll spend the last part of that session getting them to think really locally about their communities. It was easier to do when everyone was on campus, but what's the proliferation of certain textile waste streams and where is there the need, so to do some mapping out of that within communities. So that's something that I feel really passionate about and can keep textile waste in active use within a very local area.
How can people find out about where the useful things can go? Because otherwise it would just be, it's got to work locally, you've got to understand your community, but rather than it just all being dumped on you, that maybe people can go...
And the textile recycling industry in general.
Yeah.
So they could, if you work in a charity shop, firstly, I would say, or know somebody that does volunteer in a charity shop, be asking the questions, be putting things out there, be using social media, be talking to community groups. So as we move out of restrictions, it's going to be easier to have those conversations. And so many of those ideas and those projects that have been set up have sparked off of conversations and the serendipity of life when we can actually go meet people in places. So I would just say be talking about it, be asking the questions, or approach either a parent and toddler group or somebody in the council if you know somebody that's got a need for some sort of textiles. Where that's, if it's just a creative, even schools as well, with their design technology departments, or if you know a young person that really wants to start making their own sportswear to sell on Depop or something, there was one lad who was sewing for his mental health. Again, that's a whole other space shed that I could talk about it, but is the importance of craft and textile use on our mental well-being. Has been amazing, and Woven have done a fantastic pandemic creativity in the pandemic digital exhibition that's online, and so check that out at the moment.
Check that out at woveninkirklees.co.uk. Woveninkirklees.co.uk. Bookmark it now. I imagine you could find out quite a lot of stuff there as well locally about those sorts of resources.
Yes.
The mental health thing, particularly because we've got obviously the Great British Sewing Bee going on at the moment.
It's just finished.
Was it last night?
It was Wednesday night, the final.
I've obviously been watching it. I was just going to ask what.
And the youngest, and it had the youngest finalists ever in the Great British Sewing Bee, which I think is really encouraging and really exciting. So yeah, sorry.
No, you were talking about the mental health part
Yes.
of it, and you either run or are setting up a project for a men's sewing group which is related to mental health. Is that right? It's not right.
Am I?
I thought you were. Or maybe
I'd be more than happy to do that. Generally, in my village, so mendfulness as a hashtag.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not men specifically, but obviously they're very welcome.
I see.
Men who mend.
That's the patriarchy at work, right? I've just sort of made it all about men. It's about mending. I see. Sorry.
Mending.
Yeah, right. I apologise.
Although men that mend, it would, is an important feminist issue because it's a domestic textile craft that's predominantly been left to women. So I'd be well up for teaching men to mend. in a mindfulness approach.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah. Yes, you had a question.
Us were in Huddersfield, which is the centre of the woolen industry, or it was. Could you use this same approach to woolen threads, or making woolen threads into fabric and then using something that
So,
a group could
just going to repeat
for example?
the question. Huddersfield being the centre of the woolen industry, could you use woolen threads in the same way to, like,
To either make it into fabric
right,
as a group, because we're part of the group, working together we could make big swatches of knitted fabric or the yarn on its own. Would you use that same approach to reuse and make something beautiful?
Yeah, absolutely. You can upcycle everything, but knitting's really interesting. So you can, many years ago they used to unravel jumpers, and then re-knit them back together. So, and there's a lot of people within an academic sphere exploring those issues around deconstructing knitted clothing and then re-knitting them back together. So I think that's really exciting. Things like cashmere, so those kinds of animal fibres hold their value and they hold their quality really well. So cashmere's expensive and has a kind of its own recycling system in its own right. But with just general kind of woolen, are you talking about the fleeces?
Well, I was talking about fleece, I was talking about actual thread from woolen mills that like the remnants, or things that you would buy in a charity shop, like a sweater, like a cashmere sweater, that you could cut up.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, jumpers are a brilliant one. There's loads of I do them predominantly as a winter series for workshops, but yeah, jumpers are great. So if you get a jumper and just cut it off underneath the sleeves and pull it down, you've got a skirt. Jumpers are also really great for hot water bottles. So if you've got a hot water bottle, you just trace around it like 3 times. And if you're familiar with making an envelope cushion, you essentially do that, but in the shape of a hot water bottle, and using old jumpers for that are great. You can also make them into mittens and into some kind of cool house slippers.
I think this is going to be particularly cool, isn't it? Because of the increased awareness around this, the climate emergency aspect of this, rather than go on to whatever your favourite online shopping platform is and searching up a hot water bottle cover, make one for some. I'm going to do it. Why am I not doing it? Oh dear. Thanks, you're inspiring me, all of you. I'm going to come to the front here and then to the back. Hi, Liz.
Holly's got a question for you.
How many masks does it take to make the dress?
I used 102 face masks for this dress because I was on the internet the other day and I read that 102 million disposable face masks are thrown away every day in the UK. Every day. So this is an example. We were having a big conversation around, there's a growing movement against disposable plastics before the pandemic, and then the pandemic's come and kind of wiped that straight out of the system, obviously for various reasons. So rethinking waste and thinking to reuse. We know the waste hierarchy: reduce, reuse, recycle. These can't be recycled. So we've got to think about how we can reuse our face masks. And 90% of all face masks that are used in the UK are these disposable ones. So next time you're at the supermarket or just generally looking in the street, just pay attention. Like, I don't know if that's the thing normally that other people do, but just look at actually how many people are wearing a reusable cloth face mask, because it's not many.
Wow.
So reuse generally, we need to really think about when textiles can't be recycled in the traditional way. Mark and Charles were mentioning earlier. We've got to think about reduce and reuse when we're talking about textiles. They can't be recycled like a bottle or a can or a glass jar can be. It's a completely different system. So we need to reuse and reduce.
Cool. Good question. Excellent answer. You're going to have to be big voice, Charles.
Julia, when you were at school, there were subjects you liked and there were subjects you were happy to drop. What subject do you wish you'd paid more attention to if it's come back into your life now than what you do?
That's a good question. Science.
Which one of the sciences?
Probably chemistry. I did well in science. I worked really hard at school, but science was never anything that I thought, I knew I didn't want to be a doctor, really squeamish. I and I just couldn't see anything that I could do at that time with science. Cut to me in London at university, learning about the impact of textiles on our environment, being told, kind of having that conversations around about climate change, and being told what the greenhouse effect was, that I probably did learn in science, but forgot. So yeah, I wish that I had a bit more of a grasp about the climate science. But it's never too late, because thanks to David Attenborough and lots of other people, I'm catching up pretty quick.
I'm interested. So why do you ask that question, Charles?
Because the field of textiles, everyone thinks it's just art and design. But you know I work in sports science, so we bring in human biology, we bring in so many other aspects. But to see someone who's approaching it from the environmental perspective, it's just how broad the aspect is.
Yeah.
We all had favourites, and I want to know where she went wrong to begin.
Where she went wrong. That's one way to look at it, I guess. It's like, but we were talking earlier as well. So we've still got brilliantly Hi Padaskavi, who works as a sustainability engineer at a local company, making textile from reused ocean waste. And you never knew you were going to get into textiles. You were into maths and probably thought, yeah, it's about art and design, so it's not for me. There's no, but then got into, so the roots into it. There are. And Mark, you were saying there's loads of jobs available in it at the moment. It's like it's a big developing industry. Art, science, design, sustainability, recycling. It's a big opportunity for everyone. Yes, hello.
Hi, Julia, I wondered if you wanted to tell us about the videos that you've made for the Woven in Kirklees website on how to make some t-shirt yarn and a t-shirt bag.
Tell us about the videos you've made for Woven in Kirklees, Julia.
Check out woveninkirklees.co.uk to explore the amazing resources that are on there, and of which I have contributed 2 videos. So you can learn how to make your own t-shirt yarn. Maybe we should have another visual on the yarn, John. This has all come from one very small, be careful at the seams.
It's perfect for my top knot.
But all of that yarn has come from one very small fitting vest top. So you can learn, there's a special technique where you can cut it so that it forms that one continuous loop, which is how I made yours. And the other is the t-shirt bag. So transforming a t-shirt into, it's a no-sew activity. So don't take no for an answer if anybody says that they can't sew. If they can tie a knot and use a pair of scissors, they can transform a t-shirt into a bag.
Can't tell you how pleased I am with my bag. So excited. Thanks.
I couldn't find an orange t-shirt.
But blue and orange is working really well for us.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. So that's the thing with design, and again, sustainability in design. So many times, designers come at it and creative people come at it like, I want to make a pink dress in this size. But actually, if you just take a step back, see what's available, what resources have you got to work with, and then just, find something that works. Let's step back, kind of put our kind of earth logic, as Kate Fletcher would say, which is an academic genius lady. But yeah, put the earth first, and then we can still be creative and have great ideas. And you love that bag, and I'm not gutted that it's not orange, but that was my first choice. But I didn't have an orange t-shirt, so I didn't care. I found something else.
It's not even, we're putting the earth first, we're putting ourselves first. It's both selfish and the right thing to do on behalf of everyone, isn't it? It's like,
yeah, well, we are nature. That's the thing as well. When we are fundamentally connected to our environment. So if we trash the planet, we trash ourselves. So it makes no sense to continue in this production of overconsumption and excessive waste. We need to rethink waste.
Everyone behind Julia on this one? Yeah? Would you please give it up for Julia Roebuck?